All right, in this video, we are going to be looking at Layer 3 mitigations. We are continuing our series on network attacks. The objective today is to gain an understanding of risk mitigation in the network layer of the OSI model. If you forgot your acronym for your OSI model, please do not take sausage pizza away. All right, so we're going to learn about best practices, and we're going to configure mitigation settings for DHCP, NTP, and OSPF spoofing, right? DHCP, we know that is going to allocate IP addresses. NTP is our network time protocol, and OSPF is a routing protocol, open shortest path first. All right, as you see, I've got my trusty Cisco packet tracer open, and I have a demo environment here. So the first thing I want to do is I want to mitigate an NTP attack, so I'm going to configure NTP authentication. So I'm going to synchronize my router's clocks with NTP. I'm going to enable the authentication on the server and configure routers for authentication via the server. So let's go ahead and begin with router 1, 2, and 3, and let's get these enabled here. So here's my router, right? I am going to go to my command line interface, and let's go ahead and enable it. And let's configure terminal. And I'm going to set my NTP server to be 192.168.0.2. All right, I'm going to exit out of here and do the same thing on router 2 and then router 3. One nine two dot one six eight dot O dot 2. All right, and then finally router number 3. Enable, configure terminal, NTP server 192.168.0.2. All right, so now all of our routers are set to get the clock information from our NTP server, which is right there. All right, next thing I want to do is I want to enable authentication on the NTP server. So I'm going to set up the authentication key. So let me switch over to the NTP server here. And as you see, I am going to go to my services tab and do the configuration. All right, so let's see how we're looking here. Let's go to physical. Services NTP. Our NTP is on. And for our time and our day, let's go ahead and update this one to be 22. Our month, actually 23, goodness gracious, 23 already. And today's date I've got is January 14th, and the current time I have is 7:28. Okay, I'm going to enable my authentication. My key ID is going to be 1. My password is going to be zebra with the capital Z. All right, this looks good to me. Keep going. All right. Let's see, yep, NTP good. Just looking at my web server here. HTTP is on. Excellent. All right, so this looks good. I'm going to go ahead and button this up, and I want to configure the NTP authentication on my 3 routers. So let's go back to router 1 and get that set up. So I'm going to type in configure terminal, and I'm going to say NTP authenticate. Authenticate. Here we go. And I'm going to say NTP authentication. Key is going to be 1, MD5, and my password being zebra. NTP trusted key is going to be 1, and then NTP server 192.168.0.2 with my key being 1 that we assigned earlier. Let's go ahead and do the same thing on router number 2. All right, NTP authenticate, and then NTP authentication key 1, MD5, zebra, and then NTP trusted key. If you hear that, it's my cat crying in the background. NTP server 192.168.0.2 key 1, and then I'm going to exit out. All right, let me pause, get this cat out of here. I'll be right back. All right, let's go ahead and move on to router number 3 and get this one configured. All right, I'm already in my config screen, so I'm just going to type NTP authenticate and NTP authentication dash key 1 MD5 zebra. Check my syntax here. ION. Okay. NTP trusted key 1 NTP server 192.168.0.2 key 1. All right. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at our clock and see if we got the correct time. And let's also take a look at our NTP static. So let's do show clock. Oops, exit this one. Exit, show clock. All right, that is looking good. That time, yep. All right, I like that, 7:32. So that is definitely syncing up here. And let's do show NTP status. And it says clock is synchronized. There's our NTP server. Fantastic. So we got NTP authentication, NTP is server. And let's go ahead and do the same thing on router 2 and router 3. I'm going to say show clock, 7:33. Yep, that looks good. And then router 3. Show clock, show NTP status. There you go. There is our NTP server. Time is correct. So next thing I want to do is I want to, again, I'm trying to configure my network. I want to harden it. So I'm going to enable DHCP snooping. let's go ahead and prevent a DHCP spoofing attack and starvation attack. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with switch number 1. And I'm going to enable DHCP spoofing globally here. So let's do enable, configure terminal, and I'm going to say IP DHCP snooping. Okay. And now I want to enable it on my first VLAN. So I'm going to say IP DHCP snooping VLAN on VLAN 1. Okay. And next I want to configure the uplink interface pointing in the direction of the DHCP server as trusted. All right, while still in my config screen, I'm going to go to interface, gigabit, Ethernet 01, and then IP DHCP snooping trust. Okay. And then on all the other ports that are connected to our end devices and that are potentially not trusted, I'm going to limit the number of DHCP requests per second to 3, right, which is basically going to prevent the DHCP starvation attack from occurring. Okay, so let me exit out of here, back in my config screen. So again, I want to disable this on the other ports. So I'm going to do interface range, fast Ethernet, 01 to 24, say IP, DHCP, snooping, limit rate of 3, request per second, and I'm going to type in exit. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on switch number 2. Let's do enable, and then configure terminal, IPDHCP snooping, and then IP DHCP snooping, VLAN 1, interface, gigabit, Ethernet 01, IP again. I'm gonna set it to be trusted. So IP DHCP snooping trust. Let's exit out of here. And then I want to set up my interface for my other ranges here. So let me say interface range fast Ethernet 0/1 to 24, and then gigabit Ethernet 02, IP DHCP snooping, limit rate of 3, and then exit. All right, so let's go ahead and get some new IP addresses on our desktops of PCs 1 through 6. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to log on to each one and just do an ipconfig/renew here. So go to your desktop, command prompt, ipconfig/renew. And this is going to reinitiate the DHCP process between our client and our server. So let me just type in this, starting with PC1. All right, let's do PC2. Okay, PC3. All right, 67. Let's do PC4. (131), PC5, (130), and then PC6. (132). All right, so we've got all new DHCP there now here. So let's go ahead and take a look at our tables on switch 1 and switch 2. Let's see what has been allocated here. So let me exit here, and let's just do show IP DHCP snooping binding. All right, so there's our IP addresses here. All right, which is nice. That's what we want to see here. And let's verify the same thing on switch 2. Let me exit out of here. And again, let's do show IP DHCP snooping binding. And there you go. PC 4, 5, and 6. All right. So next thing I want to do is I want to configure OSPF authentication, right? So I'm going to configure this, right? So that if we have OSPF updates, they will be authenticated, right? So let's go ahead and set this up. And I'm going to set it up on my routers, and I'm going to use Panda as my pre-shared key. All right, so let's start with router number 1. All right, let's back up my command line interface. Okay, let's do configure terminal. All right, and let's do interface serial /000. And I'm going to say IP OSPF message digest key 1 MD5 Panda. Okay, and then let's do IP OSPF authentication message. For my interface, I'm going to choose interface serial O/O/1. And again, I'm going to do the same thing. IP OSPF message digest key 1 MD5 Panda. Okay. IP OSP. Whoops. IP OSPF authentication message, and then exit. All right, so the same thing on router number 2. Okay, interface serial 000 IP OSPF message digest key 1 MD5 Panda IP OSPF authentication message All right, so exit that. And then this time we're going to do interface serial O/O/1 IP OPSF message digest key 1 MD5 panda. Check my syntax here. Let's see. IP OSPF message digest key 1 MD5 panda. Okay. And then IP OSPF authentication message exit. All right. And then finally, router number 3. Let's do enable and configure terminal. Last one, interface serial O/0/0 and then IP OSPF message digest key 1 MD5 panda and then IP OSPF authentication message exit. And finally, interface serial O/O/1. I'm going to type in IP OSPF message digest key 1 MD5 panda and IP OSPF authentication message and then exit. All right, so that is all 3 of these set up here. All right, so let's go ahead and verify the OSPF neighbors table on each router and verify that our authentication process was successful. So let's start with router number 1. And let me type in exit and then show IP OSPF neighbor. All right, they're very good. And then let's do the same thing on router 2. Let's type exit, show IP OSPF. All right. And then finally, router 3. All right, show IPSF, OSPF, show IP OSPF. There we go. All right, so we are good. OSPF authentication is successful. All right, so this is looking good. And if I want to take a look further, I can just type in show IP OSPF interface serial 0/0/0, right? That says message authentication is enabled. Youngest key ID is set to 1. And that is how you harden your router and switches against attacks and navigation. All right, I'm done with this video. I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.